Alrighty, so it's been way too long ever since I've covered Vintage Story on this channel, and although I will still cover the basics of this game for the newcomers in this video, because believe it or not, this game is still being discovered as we speak. In this video, I mainly want to prioritize the game and just talk about it as a whole and why I love this game so freaking much. There will be always newcomers discovering this game because this game in particular cannot be found on Steam or even Epic Store. So instead, you'll have to simply Google the game, which is Vintage Story, and it should directly take you straight to their website, which I will leave a link down below as well. To me personally, the way I look at this game, this is basically a medieval sandbox game with huge amounts of to-dos and little amounts of cannot do's. I say that this is a medieval game because as you begin your journey, you'll go from Stone Age and all the way to Iron and Bronze Age, getting to the point where you can craft a bunch of useful gear and items to help you in your survival. Just a disclaimer, you cannot manage a village or anything along those lines, but you will truly get to the point where you can go from crafting just simple tools with flint to automated technology to an extent. Calling this game a Minecraft clone is ridiculously wrong, and honestly, you'll be doing this game a huge disservice simply because this game is strictly aimed to deliver challenges to more hardcore players / survivors, and that's something Minecraft just does not do. Not because it can't, it's aimed for more basic elements in survival. That's what Minecraft is. In Vintage Story, crafting a simple knife blade will take you some effort, fighting sticks, sculpting the blade itself, and then putting it all together. That's just a broad example of it, but that's essentially the name of the game, and that system applies to every single item in Vintage Story. You cannot just simply open a workbench and start crafting. No, you are living in days where everything is sculpted and made out of stone, or even a flint in this case. So you better get to it when it comes to preparing yourself for the future in this game. Something I personally admire about Vintage Story in particular, this is a personal thing, is the outside add-ons. Things like the sound design. For example, upon entering a cave, your footsteps echo through the deep and dark caves. The ambient sounds are super chill and impressively designed. It's just something beyond my expression at this point. The shaders and visuals of this game are so eye-pleasing and appealing to the player. I mean, this game started out as a Minecraft mod at some point, so expecting visual changes is probably the least of the game's perks and appeals. But the point is, this game has so much more in store for you that Minecraft simply does not deliver. Not to bash on Minecraft, but Vintage Story simply delivers an incredible amount of detail to nearly everything that Minecraft does not. And now that we have a new update, which is 1.20, and this just reshaped the game in so many different ways. You can now build ships in this game. Exploring has always been the main priority in this game, but this new update just multiplies everything by 10 and encourages its players to seek and explore the waters, deep waters in that matter. Potential is abnormal with Vintage Story. The system alone deserves a ton of praise and just recognition, but there's just so much more to it. Outside of building ships and graphical improvements, the game allows you to traverse with the speed by taming one of these guys. It's an elk. You can also use them as a phenomenal storage unit as well, which can be customized in so many different ways. You can load your animals onto your ship and travel with them across the island. So if the island you're on is surrounded by water, deep waters, and you can't use that animal to cross the water, so to speak, load your animal onto the ship and then you traverse that way. Once again, the name of the game here is Detail. There's also a new threat in this game, which I will not spoil it for you, but I promise you it is terrifying when you see it. Also, the new animation is a new thing in this game now too. I just cannot say enough of good things about Vintage Story. As far as the story goes, I personally wasn't well invested myself. I completely left that behind and solely focused on the survival aspect of things, which is honestly where the game really shines for me personally. But if you want a little background story while playing this game and discover new things and kind of look into little Easter eggs, you can simply play Vintage Story as is. Once again, there's so many ways you can sink your time into this game that I can't even count to explain. Instead of dealing with biomes, this game in fact has a procedural world with seasonal weather events and seasonal changes. So preparing for the future is essentially a key to your survival. Certain animals will go in hibernation during certain seasons. Certain vegetables will no longer be found during specific seasonal conditions. The detail is the main focus of the game, just like I said, and if you are a big survival sucker like myself, this game is 100% worth your money, you guys. This game has been one of my personal go-tos all the fucking time. I've never, excuse my language by the way, I've never deleted this game off of my desktop. It's always lived on my desktop rent-free, and I'm just genuinely very happy to have discovered this game personally. They really don't bench produce updates either, so when they update the game, it's massive, it's once in a lifetime, not necessarily, but you know what I'm saying. This game has been on my personal go-tos, just like I said, and that has not changed one bit. Go on, begin your journey, be patient with its learning curve, as it could be very challenging at first, the first time you launch the game, and as soon as you get the grip on things in Vintage Story, your world will open up in ways you couldn't even imagine.